The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $100 and get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WINNBET. Welcome, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Thursday, December 8th, here to break down the three-game schedule in the NBA. And joining me to help me break down the betting card, you guys know him as the newest host on the NBA Gambling Podcast. It's Delonte Smith. Delonte, how you feeling, my man?
What's up, man? Ready for a bounce back? Tuesday show went good with the props, but not so good with the lock and the dog. As we were discussing earlier, not a good night last night. I won I think 1 out of 4, and the one game that I won was supposed to win it was the Timberwolves. I don't know if you've seen the end of that
Yeah, I
game.
saw that.
Yeah, it was crazy. So looking for a bounce back today. We got to keep it going.
Yeah, it hasn't been a great week for me either. I'll be upfront and honest. I was on a hot streak last week, right around this time to get into the weekend. So hopefully something I can repeat, but didn't have a great day with player props yesterday. NBA picks were okay. If you're following our picks, we'll do our best to get it up on the picks page over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA picks, or just go to the website, just hit NBA. You'll see NBA picks there from myself, Terrell, and then a couple other contributors for the SGPN network. So definitely check us out there for our picks. Last night, Delonte, some pretty good action, like you
Yep.
mentioned. Minnesota gets the cover at the end with the Rudy Gobert dunk in the end. I think the game of the night, I guess we could just start there, man. It was much of a game, but
Yeah.
look, they're a wagon right now. Delonte. Boston goes into Phoenix and just absolutely throttles this team. That game was over before it even started. I don't
Right.
even know if Phoenix even showed up to the gym last night. Boston gets the victory 125-98. It was a lot worse, and the score is indicating the Boston Celtics were up 69-42, a 27-point lead at the half. Came out in third quarter even stronger. They won that third quarter 35-28. And then at that point, all the starters weren't really needed in that fourth quarter. So some much needed rest for the Boston Celtics, and Boston just goes into Phoenix and absolutely just hammers his team, Terrell. I'm sorry, Delonte.
Yeah, man. That was one of my losers actually. I thought Phoenix would bounce back after that effort that they put in the previous game. They got Chris Paul back. I thought that would give him a little bit of a shot in the arm, but like you said, it was a blowout in the score, but it was literally worse than that, way worse than that. Like Phoenix looked like what they did against Dallas in that game 7 in the playoffs, maybe worse. I mean, when Josh Okigi or Okogie, sorry if I'm messing up his name, when he's your leading scorer with 28, I mean,
Yeah.
it's all going to be downhill. I mean, Devin Booker's struggled again. I think it was 6 for 17 or 6 for
There's a foul
18.
trouble, yeah, in that game
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, so I mean Boston, like I say it all the time, like I'm just not going against Boston. And I know Rail got some same sentiments about Boston. But I mean, I thought it was a good spot for Phoenix. I really did.
Mhm.
And couldn't be more wrong actually. There's just Boston is just on another level. Like I have no idea what anybody's going to do to stop, and they don't even look like, I mean, of course they look like they're having fun, but they look like they're just so laser focused. I don't see them like laughing, joking. Nothing. I like strictly straight business, no
Yeah.
matter who the opponent is. Like they look so locked in. It's kind of scary for other NBA teams. But I tell you this, I won't be going against Boston again. Not until I mean it's gonna have to be some a big advantage or overreaction or something. But I can't do it. I lost on them too much. So that's my that's my synopsis for that game. I won't be going against Boston.
Um, for the Boston Celtics, you like you said, they against teams I mean, now they have a record of 21 and what are they at? 21-5.
Mhm.
They're sitting
Yep.
at first place, obviously, in the Eastern Conference. 2 days off here before they go out to, or they're probably already there in San Francisco looking for revenge for the NBA Finals. It's going to be its first primetime game on Saturday night against the Golden State Warriors. And we could talk about the Warriors. Last night, they just kind of sat their starters, except for Clay. Clay did play in this game last night, but they just absolutely, I don't know if you caught the end of that game, but they absolutely just
Yeah, I
fumbled
did. Yeah, I
the,
did. Yep.
in the end. Possibly Jordan
Yep.
Poole got fouled, but I mean, when you're getting into
Yeah.
those final seconds in a game like that, you have to shut the door. You have to make your free throws. And
Mhm.
unfortunately for the Golden State Warriors, they had a turnover, got the easy basket, did the Utah Jazz to seal that game for them and got the victory there. But I think that more so they sat their starters to get them extra rest, probably in preparation for the big game
Saturday.
on Saturday night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Anything else? Yeah, go ahead.
no, I seen the end of that game also, and it did look like Poole was fouled, but I mean, he had a chance to, to seal it, and, like, he one of the best free throw shooters in the NBA, and then he miss did he miss one, or he
I
missed
know
one?
he missed one for sure. Let me see if I can go back and
Yeah,
find it.
I thought he might have missed one, that could have probably sealed it, and then I think, Malik Beasley hit that 3 to
Mhm.
cut it to 1,
Yeah.
and then, I forgot who went to the line,
Let me see if
but
I can
I think
find
they
it
missed
here.
also. But yeah, the ending of that game was crazy. Poole probably did get fouled. I mean, he
Yeah.
the guy, I can't remember his name, Simon or something like that, that hit the game winner. He was the
Yeah.
one that stripped it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so, like, he came down pretty hard. I thought it was all ball at first, but then when they, slowed it down, of course. But you can't rely on that. They had plenty of opportunities to close the game, and
Yeah,
they just didn't.
so Jordan Poole missed a free throw with about
Mhm.
13 seconds left, and
Okay.
then he hit the second one. Jazz called a timeout, like you said. Malik Beasley hits that 3-point
Mhm.
shot, and then the Warriors called a timeout. I think on the inbounds pass is where
Yep, it got
Jordan
stolen.
Poole, yeah, got fouled
Mhm.
by Nikhil Alexander Walker, and then they were able to get the ball
Yeah.
down the court and get the dunk by Fitochi. If I'm probably butchering that, but he got the
I
game
didn't even
winning.
wanna say his last name, that's
Yeah,
why.
I'm probably butchering that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jazz get the victory 124-123. Anything around the association last night that kind of stuck out to you yesterday,
Um,
Delonte?
SGA and Ja was fun. I mean, SGA didn't have his best night. He shot I don't know if you've seen the box score, but he shot 19 free throws.
Yeah,
Nobody on his team shot more than 2.
yeah.
Like, I don't know what the deal with that is. I mean, but other than that, they had chances. They were down 3 going into the
Mhm.
4th. They were
Yeah,
playing Memphis really well. Had a bad 4th quarter, a real bad 4th quarter, similar to the Kings. The Kings were down, I think, 4 or 5 going into the 4th quarter, and they laid a dud in the 4th quarter as well. But some really good games around. The Knicks still own Atlanta in regular season. I think
yeah.
Rail and Scott were talking about that last night,
Hmm.
or yesterday. I'm sorry. Uh, Other than that, man, it was some interesting games. Like we talked about 2 of them. Um, I'm looking through. Brooklyn fell asleep again. Clippers, which we'll talk about in a second. Brooklyn was controlling that game, and then they just fell asleep like they normally do. They probably got bored. But Brooklyn,
Yeah,
I like what I'm seeing from Brooklyn though.
yeah. Brooklyn had an 18-point lead at the half.
Mhm.
Charlotte outscores them in the third quarter, 32-23, to make it a game. And they also outscored them in the fourth quarter to the Hornets, 29-26. But Brooklyn holds on to the lead, get the 6-point victory. But Charlotte does get the cover in that game. Not sure if Brooklyn should have been laying 10 points. I mean, it's hindsight now, but you're right. I think Scott has talked about this a lot as well, is that they just find ways to let other teams back into the game. And I think that last night was an example of that, of the Brooklyn Nets, where they let, Charlotte Hornets back into the game.
Mhm.
So, yeah, some pretty good games. We'll talk about the Clippers game when we talk about the Clippers here tonight in
Yeah.
their schedule, in their overtime loss to the Orlando Magic. But anything else before we
No,
get into the games here?
I think we pretty much hit on everything. Yeah, I think we pretty much hit on everything. The Pelicans still winning without 2 key guys. Just they
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we hit on pretty much everything.
All right. Yeah, so 3 games on the Thursday night schedule here in the association. Usually how it goes on these Thursday night slates in the NBA. Usually we get about 2 to 4 games on those Tuesday and Thursday nights, travel days for a lot of teams. But Delonte, let's just get right into it, my man. First game on the schedule, it's going to be a 7:30 Eastern start. This one is going to be on NBA TV. It's going to be the LA Clippers headed down to South Beach to take on the Miami Heat. This line opened up, let's see here. Um,
4, I think.
yeah, four and a
I
half it
seen.
opened up at
Yeah.
for the Miami Heat, and that number is now all the way up to -6
Mm-hmm.
in favor of the Miami Heat. Total opened up at 215.5. That number has been bet down to 213.5. See some 214s out there as well for the total. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, let's start with Miami because it's always fun to, or not fun, but it's always an adventure to go through their injury report. So all the guys that are probable here tonight, it's going to be Tyler Hero, Haywood Highsmith, Nikola Jovic, Victor Oladipo, who did make his season debut in his last game for the Miami Heat, Duncan Robinson, Max Strus. All those guys are probable tonight. The 2 questionable tags are going to be Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Dedman for the Miami Heat. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Now for the Clippers, like we talked about, they did play last night against the Orlando Magic in Orlando. So not too much of a travel because they are in the same state. But this game went to overtime last night. They played an extra 5 minutes where the Clippers led the Orlando Magic back in the game, or we can say Orlando Magic is a team that just doesn't give up, especially on their home floor.
Mm-hmm.
In that third quarter, they outscored the Clippers 31-29, won that quarter by 2 points, but it was really the fourth quarter for the Orlando Magic where they outscored the Clippers 28-21, forced overtime, and then they went into overtime and got the victory over the LA Clippers 116-111. We did see Kawhi Leonard play in that game. Delonte, also Paul George was in that game as well. Not a great shooting night for both of the superstars of that team. They combined to go for 7 of 27 in that game against the Orlando Magic. So that's not going to get it done when your 2 best players have that type of shooting night. But if you have any thoughts from the game last night, and then we can transition to this game here tonight between the Miami Heat and the Clippers.
Uh, Not really. I mean, the Clippers just they're similar to Brooklyn. Like they get. I think they had a decent sized lead, maybe a double digit lead midway through the game,
Yeah.
and they just fell asleep at the wheel. I didn't take too much out of it, other than you know Orlando. They get up. They're going to get up for those games and play a little bit harder because of the quality of team that they're playing at home, and they're really feisty and they fight at home. Uh, Kawhi and PG did a pretty good job on Pancaro. He was pretty frustrated early on. 10 of his 23 came in overtime, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So they held him in check pretty much the entire game. The Clippers just, I mean, you never know what you're going to get until they get some consistency. I don't really know what we can, expect, or they're a hard team to handicap pretty much, like because you never know who's in, who's out. The only consistent thing is, I mean, they do play good defense.
Mm-hmm.
They are fifth in points allowed, so that's one thing that is steady that Lou does. He does play defense, but it's got to be hard for him, constantly having people in and out of the lineup. You're not making excuses for him, of course, because they are one of the deepest teams in the league. But it's kind of hard when you don't have your full allotment of players. Other than that, I didn't see much in that Orlando game. Did you see anything that stuck out to you?
No, I mean, these 2 teams are probably 2 more of the most, or Miami Heat and the sorry, the Clippers, probably the 2 most difficult teams to handicap so far this season. As far as last night for the Clippers, I just think it's just that guys have been in and out of the lineup for them. When you talk about their 2 best players, right? Kawhi Leonard, and you talk about Paul George. And those guys have been dealing with injuries or injury management, whatever you want to call it. And that really messes with the chemistry of the
Yep.
team. And I think that we saw that when Chris Middleton came back for the Bucks, right? Where they lost that game to the Lakers just because when you're bringing arguably your second best
Mm-hmm.
player back on the team, it's difficult for the offense to keep that rhythm up going when you're trying to integrate back a player like Chris Middleton. I think the same thing last night for the Phoenix Suns. And outside of Boston just being the best team in the NBA right now, the most dominant team right now, Delonte, when you get a player like Chris Paul back who has the ball in his hand, is your point guard, it's going to mess with the chemistry. Obviously,
Mhm.
foul trouble was a thing last night for Devin Booker and the Suns last night as well. They weren't able to get them the rhythm, but when you have guys in and out of the lineup, it's difficult to just have that chemistry. You know what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
and I can think that's the problem for both of these teams, the Clippers and the Miami Heat. So as far as tonight goes, we're seeing money come in on the Miami Heat right now. But you take a look at the numbers here, Delonte. Miami 8-16-1 overall against the spread. They're just 3-9-1 against the spread at home. They're 3-8-1 against the spread as home favorites. So they're just not covering games. I, I I'm gonna be on the Clippers here tonight plus the 6 points. The Clippers, look, despite everything that's kind of gone on with the injury report and
Mhm.
for them throughout the season, they've still found a way to win 14 games this season, right? They're still 14-12. They're still what I think they're a top 5 seed still right now in that
Yep.
Western Conference. So we did see some alerts last night about guys that are going to be in this game. Let me see if I can quickly find that. But if you want to give your handicap for this game between the Clippers and the Heat.
Yeah, honestly, I laid 4 early on the look ahead simply because I my mindset was that, um at least one of Kawhi Leonard or Paul George weren't going to play. And I mean, probably going to be Kawhi Leonard who's not going to play. And I thought Jimmy would be ruled in simply because he took the night off when they played. I forgot who they played. I lost on them on Tuesday's show. Detroit. Yeah,
Detroit, yeah.
so he rested against Detroit. So I think he'll be back. And I mean, at 6.5, I probably would stay away from it. But I liked it when it was a little bit shorter, thinking that some of those variables might change as we get closer to it. One
Yeah.
thing I do like better is the under.
Okay.
This is gonna like play out to be like a 1990s, 1991 Miami Heat, New York Knicks type of game, maybe like 98, 95 or 96, 92, something
Okay.
like that. Two of the last the Clippers are 2-3 straight up and 1-4 ATS last 5. And you routed off the Heat number, the Miami Heat numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they haven't been really good at all. 3 of the last 5 have went under though, which is on my side. They scored under 100 points in 3 of the last 5.
Yeah.
Both teams are bottom 5 in points per game. So like it all balances out to an under game, even if those guys don't go. I think that both teams will be able to, you know, stymie the other team's offense. I mean, they don't have much of it anyway, and you would think that the Clippers would be more offensively driven with 2 of the better offensive guys, but that's not the case. Both top 10 in defensive rating.
Mm-hmm.
They it's all pointing to an under for me. Is it at 213.5? I know I seen 215 on the open.
Currently seeing 214 over on WinBet.
Yeah, I'll take that under. I like the under in this game. The Heat do have a really good lineup, second in points per possession with
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Lowry, uh, Max Strus, Caleb Martin, Jimmy Butler, and Bam. So that lineup is really effective for them. I mean, but since Jimmy's been in and out of the lineup, they don't play a lot of possessions. They're also fourth in point differential. So that's something to watch when they're on the floor together. But yeah, I would lean to Miami. I wouldn't play it at 6.5. But I definitely like the under in the game.
Yeah. For the Clippers side, let me just rattle off who is playing here for them. So Luke Kennard is going to be in. Paul George is going to be in, or he said he expects to play tonight as of last night. That's what he said. And also John Wall will be playing in this game as well for the LA Clippers. So we're just waiting on I very much doubt that Kawhi Leonard's going to play here
Right,
tonight,
right.
especially being in a back-to-back situation. Drew pointing out Heat don't cover at home. Yeah, man,
Yeah,
we
they
read the
don't. They
numbers
don't.
there.
Yeah, they
They
don't.
don't cover. I think that if Miami wins, it's probably going to be within 3 points, 4 points, possibly. But I think there's a good chance where I like your play, Delonte, on the under here. Another mention in the chat, fading Bam until he shows us something different. Thoughts on Bam here, Delonte? Because yeah, he's been kind
Uh,
of underwhelming. It seems like he's I don't know if he doesn't have the confidence or what's going on with Bam. Do you have any thoughts on that?
yeah, I don't really know. I watched a couple of Miami Heat games, and he did look kind of like out of sorts. He has had 20 plus in five of the last six, but I mean, he does have games where he's kind of like non-existent. And if you, I know you remember the Pat Riley's exit interview. Bam was the only guy that got praised. Like
Yeah.
Pat Riley was saying, like everybody should give Bam. And I don't know if he's lacking confidence or maybe he might be dealing with some injuries or what. But yeah, he does look a little bit flustered. It's hard for me to, rag on the North Carolina guy. So, but he has been a little bit flustered. I mean, maybe he's not a one. So with Jimmy being out, they're probably putting more pressure on him. I mean, him and Hero do rely on him a lot. But I mean, that's you got paid to do that, so you're supposed to perform. So I will give him that. Yeah, I wouldn't be looking at anything Bam related unless Jimmy's in the lineup where he can slide back into that 2A, 2B role
Mhm.
with him and Tyler Hero.
Yeah, no player props out yet either for this game. Obviously, we're just waiting for some injury news for both these teams. Starting to see some starting to pop up, but nothing definitive, at least for the
Mhm.
Miami side. Anything else for this game, Delonte, before we get over to the next game?
Yeah, it's hard for props. I know, but if you can find when they drop, it's usually around 2.5 for Max Struess to go over his threes. He had
Okay.
3+ in 6 of his last 9. So that's something to look at if it's 2.5. Reasonably juiced. It's usually reasonably juiced about 120 or under.
Okay.
Yeah, so I like that one. Kyle Lowry points under. He's in more of a facilitator role. He's not even looking to score.
Yeah.
I think his scoring will pick up as he gets into playoff form. But right now he's not looking to score right now. So those are just two things that I would look at. Obviously, we don't have numbers on them just yet, but if it's I think it's right at like 15, 14 and a half, 15. I'll probably look under on that and over on Struess threes.
Yeah, I'm only starting to see some Clippers player props slowly drop here, but yeah, nothing yet for the Miami Heat. Probably waiting, obviously, on the Jimmy Butler news
Yep.
for the player props for them. All right, before we continue the conversation here, let me tell you guys about our presenting sponsor. That's going to be WinBet. If you're ready to win money and boost your odds, WinBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. We're bringing the excitement of Win Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. Exclusive rewards are right at your fingertips with Win Rewards on WinBet. Looking to get involved in the same game parlay? WinBet is your home with their WinBet Build Your Own Bet, letting you customize the bet that you want to make. Great promos, odds, and payouts are happening right now at WinBet, and WinBet has what you need to win. Ready to play? Sign up today to receive a special offer. Bet $100, win $100. There's so much to choose from. And all you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. So they know that we sent you that sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 years or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Roster brought to you by Dave. With the holidays around the corner, you might be wondering how you're going to be able to make ends meet and shower your loved ones with gifts. Dave can help you get out of a pinch so you can enjoy the holiday season. If you're living paycheck to paycheck or just struggling to make ends meet, the holidays can be a really stressful time for you and your family. But with Dave, you can get money sooner, or you can spend more time enjoying the holidays with your loved ones and not having to worry about much money you have to get through the week. Dave is a banking app that could help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. With Dave, there's no interest, late fees, or credit checks. There's more money to buy those last minute gifts or just simply catch up on bills without having to wait for your next paycheck. You can finally tackle those expenses that have been stressing you out without any hangups. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to get the financial relief they need with extra cash. So if you're in a pinch or you just need some extra help, download the Dave app and think of it as a helping hand from the future you. So all you got to do is download the Dave app from the App Store right now or go to dave.com/SGPN. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC. All right, Delonte, let's get into the next game of the night. That's going to be in my home state here in Texas. It's going to be a crosstown rivalry. The Houston Rockets heading down I-10 to take on the San Antonio Spurs. Looking at the lines for this game, this line opened up -1 in favor of the Houston Rockets. The number has pretty much stayed the course at -1.5. Starting to see some -1s pop up as well. Total opened up at 231.5. That number has been bet down just a tick to 231. Starting to see some 230.5s pop up as well. Looking at the injury report for this game, let's start with the Houston Rockets. Josh Christopher is officially questionable here tonight. He has a left foot contusion. Bruno Fernando is also questionable tonight. He's dealing with a non-COVID related illness. Kevin Porter Jr. also questionable here tonight with right knee soreness, so definitely keep an eye out for that. For the San Antonio Spurs, they have a very, very long injury.
Yeah.
So,
the whole team is up there, man. Pop got the whole team up there.
so I'll read off the guys that are officially out. So we know Jeremy Sohan is officially out. Devin Vassell is officially doubtful for tonight. Jakob Pertl is also out tonight. And then Blake Wesley is also out here tonight. The two guys that are probable, Romeo Langford and Doug McDermott, are probable here tonight for the San Antonio Spurs. So two teams that we knew coming into the season, Delonte, that were not going to be very good, that are probably going to be in the sweepstakes for Victor Wembanyama. San Antonio has just kind of fully embraced the tankathon after getting off to a pretty good start to the season, but they started, hey, we probably need to pump the brakes here a little bit, probably what San Antonio said here. But, Houston, they've been feisty, right? They got the victory over the Sixers on Monday with the return of James Harden for the Philadelphia 76ers and back into Houston. So if you're kind of watching this Rockets team like I have been, they're not giving up as easily as people are expecting. So they're getting up for some of these spots against some of the better teams in the NBA. But Delonte, let's start with the spread here. Rockets are a -1 point favorite in San Antonio tonight, taking on the San Antonio Spurs. What are you thinking about this game?
Man, this is gonna be a completely different pace from the first game that we talked about. This is gonna be like an AAU game. I think
Yeah.
like both teams gonna get up and down the court. Houston, they got a lot of talent. They just don't know how to like mesh it all together to play winning basketball just yet. This is their first time being favored all season. So that's gonna be interesting. I mean, obviously it's only a short number, but I think that Houston is playing harder than what San Antonio is, and that might be by design. San Antonio is 1-9 last 10 ATS, 0-5 straight up and ATS the last 5 games. And as you ran off the injury report, they don't even want to play guys.
Yeah.
So I think Houston might be a good play. I seen that it opened up 1.5, 2. That was like overnight, and then it got bet down and then back up and then down again. So it's kind of like a battle right now. But I would lean on the sidewise. I would lean to Houston simply because they're going to come out and play hard, and they probably got superior talent than what San Antonio is going to put on the floor at this time. But like it's going to be a AAU game. Both teams allowed over 120 points per game in the last 5. San Antonio's gave up 130 plus in 2 of the last 5. It's going to be a AAU game. So I would lean with the athletes and go with Houston.
Yeah, look, for this San Antonio team right now, they are currently on a what is it, 10-game losing streak right now, 11-game losing streak, and it's pretty much been how, like you mentioned, how bad their defense has been. It's been atrocious. I think that's maybe even saying it as an understatement. And Rockets defense hasn't been very good either. So over the last 5 games, at least for both of these teams, take a look at it defensive rating wise. San Antonio number 28 in the entire league, and Rockets are dead last as far as defensive rating 123.3. Offensively, the Rockets have been a little better. They do have the talent there. When we talk about guys like Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr., Alperen Şengün, I think he should have a big game here tonight for the Rockets, and Jabari Smith Jr. as well. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rockets here tonight minus the 1. They've talked about in post game interviews and press conferences that they are tired of losing and they do want to win games. And, going into San Antonio tonight, where half of the team is compromised here, where you don't have possibly two of your top three players in Jeremy Sohan and Devin Vassell. Keldon Johnson will be out there for this team. So, again, like you mentioned, I think the talent right now is better for this Houston Rockets team. And it's just going to be a question if they're going to put in that effort on the defensive side of the basketball, or are they just going to want to go out there and just outscore the San Antonio Spurs and try to put up 120, 125 points here tonight. And like you mentioned, the Spurs they've been giving up the points, right? 143, 119, 117, 133 over their last 5 games alone. So,
That's insane.
yeah, and offensively, they haven't been very good either, right? The last 2 games, they haven't been able to reach the 100-point mark against the Pelicans and the Phoenix Suns. Possibly a different story here tonight, going up against the Rockets, who are the worst defensive rated team at least over the last 5 games in the entire association. So I agree with you. I will go with the Rockets here minus the 1.
Mm-hmm.
I can't play an under in this game if we're talking about the total here.
Definitely not. Yeah, I wouldn't dare play
over or pass.
Yeah, I definitely would go over. I mean, the money's coming in on the under, so I don't know if they know something we don't right now. But both teams are bottom 5 in points allowed, field goal percentage allowed, and 3-point percentage allowed. Yeah. So they're not. I mean, that just goes to show, they're not playing any defense at all. And another thing that could lead to an over is turnovers. So both teams are bottom 5 in turnover percentage, which is percentage of possessions ending in a turnover. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's gonna be a lot of up and down. It's gonna lead to some turnovers, some easy baskets. So I think that all bodes well for an over. It's just gonna be a fun game. I mean, if you into watching, I guess, AAU games, you could just go to your local gym and watch this. But and something I did notice with this Houston, they are giving up effective 3-point field goal percentage 59.8 allowed. Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. That's 30th in the NBA. Like that's, and I mean, I don't even know if San Antonio has enough offense to be able to exploit that. But they, like I said, they just all the signs point to an over. I'll be on the over for sure. I don't see how it stays under with these bad defenses. I really don't.
Yeah, I will say this: the Rockets' first quarters are 5-0, or last 5 first quarter games for the Rockets. They are 5-0 to the over. They have a net rating. I'm gonna let you guess this, Delonte. In the first quarter, and I thought there is one team that is worse. What is their net rating in that first quarter for the Rockets over the last 5 games?
5 games. You just routed it off. I'll say 11.
They're minus 40.
What?
In the 40? First quarter. In the first quarter alone.
How is that even possible?
They have a defensive rating in the first quarter, Delonte, of 152.8. Now, just to put that into context, the Orlando Magic are number 29 in that span. They're at 134.7.
Jesus. I mean,
yeah, so I kind of want to look at, and since we're on the topic here, of how many points are actually allowing in that first quarter, all the Rockets.
I think you brought up the defensive rating for both teams. You said you gave it for the last 5 games, correct?
I gave it for the last 5, yeah.
Yeah, it's ironically the way you said it, it's reversed for the full season. So I think you said that Houston was 28, Houston was 30th, and San Antonio was 28. Mm-hmm. It's complete opposite for the full season. Yeah, Houston is 28th in defensive rating, and San Antonio was 30th. So I thought that was it. I thought that was pretty interesting.
And if we kind of also look at the 3-point defense for the San Antonio Spurs, it's they're in the bottoms of the league as well. So I would expect guys like Jalen Smith, Jalen Green, to get up 3-point shots here as well. The one player I do like to make some 3-point shots here tonight, and one of my buddies has been writing this, it's been Jabari Smith Jr. over 2.5 3-point shots made. Yep. Take a look at the San Antonio Spurs. They're number 30th in a 3-point percentage allowed from beyond the arc, at close to 40%. Dead last. They're allowing 13.1 makes per game, which ranks number 25 in the entire league. Rockets ranked number 30. So I think we'll see a lot of 3-point shots being put up in this game here, Delonte.
Yeah, that was in my notes as well. Jabari Smith over 2.5 threes. It's actually at plus money too.
Yeah, it
I
is.
think I,
Yeah, and it has been every single game.
yeah, that's and he's made 3 or more in 7 of the last 8.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I think that's a good prop. I also would look at his points and rebounds.
Mhm.
Being that San Antonio is going to be missing Pirtle and the other big guy Bates Diop, I think is his
Mhm.
name.
I
And
think
so
he's in tonight. Let me
oh,
double
Bates
check.
Diop is in.
I think I saw an
Oh,
alert
okay.
that he was going to be in. Yeah. No, actually, I'm sorry. He's out.
Okay, yeah. So with both of those being absent, and then um, they're gonna be playing mostly like a lot of Keldon Johnson at the 5, a little bit more, and Sohan's out as well. He usually plays some small ball 5 for them as well.
Yeah.
So I would look for Jabari to be able to get some rebounds, and I think I've seen his points plus rebounds at 19 and a half.
Mhm.
So I kind of like that. Also looking at Jalen Green assists,
Yeah.
he's had 5 plus in 9 of the last 12. So
Mhm.
he's playing more of a facilitator role. I think Christopher was on the injury report.
Yeah, he's questionable.
Yeah, so he'll do a lot of the ball handling if Christopher's out. He has been lately. I
Yeah.
watched the not watched, but I've listened to Bill Simmons podcast. He had Jalen Green on it over the summer, and he was talking about how he wanted to improve his playmaking
Mhm.
and making guys better. So so that was something I've been watching during this season, and he has been doing a better job of it. But they just, they just don't. They're young. They're
Yeah.
all like college kids at the end of the day. They're
Yeah.
supposed to be in college, so they're kind of like they don't know what to do, how to play with each other. They don't know if they should if I should yell at this guy. It's kind of like they need a veteran. And I mean Eric Gordon, pretty sure is the only veteran in there, and he's likely to be shipped out. So
Yeah.
uh yeah, I like those two props. Anything else that you like prop wise?
I was looking at Shane Goon double here tonight. I
Mhm.
think that he can have a good night on the boards here for the Rockets, especially without Jakob Pertl in there.
Yeah.
They're lacking a little bit of size inside, right? Are the San Antonio Spurs
Yep. Yep.
against the center position? I was looking this up here. Let me see. Um, Against the center position, the San Antonio Spurs are allowing 15.3 rebounds per contest. So I see Shangoon's double here tonight at plus 135. And then if you want to really be a DJ here tonight, like Delonte mentioned, Jabari Smith plus 430 to get a double here tonight. And he
Yeah, I
did get
don't hate that.
one in the last game. Yeah, that one is a double overtime. Maybe that's why he got there. But
Yeah.
we've seen flashes where he can rebound.
Yeah, I think so. I might take a shot. I might take a shot at that. I mean, it's just that he's just like sometimes he's in his own way. He did this at Auburn too.
Mhm.
A lot of people blame the guards for it, but sometimes he can go and hide. Like he was the best player on the floor at Auburn, and at times he would be more aggressive. He'd be in the post. He'd be doing this, and I see some of that same thing in Houston. Like sometimes he'll be like ultra aggressive. Like he'll even bring the ball up. He'll be posting up smaller forwards or even guards on the pick and roll switch with him and Jalen Green. That
Yep.
pick and roll between him and Jalen Green is really effective. I don't have the numbers on it, but I was looking at it for this game, and they're really interesting. So if you got some time, look at the pick and roll numbers for Jalen Green and Jabari Smith. Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, man, I like that 430. That's not too bad. It's not too
Yeah.
bad.
All right. Anything else for this game here, Delonte, for good to the last game of the night?
Look at Keldon Johnson points and rebounds over. I mean, if Vassell's not playing, he's the only other
Yeah.
offensive option. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
mean,
he's
it's
doubtful for tonight.
yeah, just pure volume. This is a pure volume play. If there's going to be a lot of shots put up, Keldon's going to be doing a lot of rebounding. Like we mentioned, the two big guys are out along with Sohan.
Yeah.
So I look for him. I think it's 30 and a half, if I'm not mistaken, points and rebounds.
Yep. 30
So
and a half.
yeah, I look at that over, and that would probably be it. He's the only player that's like even remotely watchable or playable for the Spurs.
Yeah. 100%. All right, let's get over to the last game of the night, possibly the game of the night here. It's going to be the Denver Nuggets headed to Portland to take on the Blazers. It's going to be a 10 o'clock Eastern start, I believe, for this game. Looking at the opening lines for this game, I am seeing that the Denver Nuggets actually opened up as a 1 point favorite. That line has now flipped over to the side of Portland at -1. Total opened up at 226 and a half. That number has been bet up. Some money coming in on the over at 227 and a half now over on WinBet. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, start with the road team here, the Denver Nuggets. KCP is probable here tonight. Michael Porter Jr. has already been ruled out, and that is pretty much it. For the Portland Trail Blazers, Drew Eubanks, Josh Hart, Keon Johnson are all probable here tonight. And Gary Payton II continues to make his rehab to return to competition for the Portland Trail Blazers. And Nasir Little is also out for the Portland Trail Blazers as well. But Damian Lillard did make his return for this team earlier this week, last week. He will be a go in this game here as well. Delonte, let's start with the side here, my man. A -1 right now for the Portland Trail Blazers hosting the Denver Nuggets, who are coming off a loss against I forgot who they played that other night. Dallas.
And that was a lockdown loss as well, man, on Tuesday's show. So but I got a question for you. So before we get into the handicap, so you remember when Joker and Nurkic were playing for Denver? Do you think that would have worked out long term, or do you think it wouldn't have? I mean, I know they got rid of Nurkic because of they thought they seen something in Joker, which obviously they did. But I think that's pretty interesting of what would have been, because I think they could have been pretty effective if they had the right pieces around him.
I think because Jokic is I don't want to say ball dominant, but
yeah, I get what you're saying though.
I think for him to flourish like he has when he's won the MVPs, I think that I don't think it would have worked, because then Nurkic would have been, for at least for stats purposes, like Nurkic would have got all the rebounds, you know what I mean? Because he is a rebounding machine. I think the vision is what the Denver Nuggets wanted was what they're getting right now from Aaron Gordon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got you. That's where I was going at too. I think Aaron Gordon is a better fit for them because he can actually defend and he's more athletic. He can get out and run. Nurkic and Joker on the court together. They slogging up the court. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting that they had both of those guys.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, like, quote unquote, Minnesota was going for with Towns and Gobert to a lesser extent. But obviously that's not working out. But yeah, as for the game, over is what I would play the most. I mean, both teams efficient offensively. 4 of the last 5 matchups have went over between these teams. Denver, they've got Dame back, so not Denver. Portland has got Dame back. They're just 2 and 3 straight up in ATS the last 5, and that goes back to what you were saying about players being integrated as far as meshing well together. So Dame's back, and Dame is Dame, but everybody has to slide down a notch. So Simons is not the 1 or 1A to Jeremy Grant. So everybody has to adjust to life with and without Dame. So being that he's back, guys are getting a little bit stagnant. They're watching him dribble more. So the offensive efficiency has dipped down when Dame is in, simply because he's a ball dominant guy. But both teams are efficient offensively still. Denver is one of the most offensive efficiency, one of the better, most offensive efficiency teams. First in field goal percentage, second in 3-point percentage. They move the ball really well. I don't know what it is. They just fall behind so much early on. I don't know if it's, they're not ready to play right away and they got to get adjusted or what, but they just really fall behind early. They fell behind early with Dallas. Dallas pretty much was dominating that game until the end. So that's one of the things that I have about, like, one of the gripes I have about Denver. They are 0-3 straight up in ATS the last 3, 6-9 ATS on the road. So I would lean to Portland. Nothing strong. I know it's been like toggling back and forth, +1, -1, both sides. I would lean to Portland, but more strong on the over with these two offensive teams.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game here to watch tonight. And I think, like you mentioned, what Denver downfall has kind of been is that defensively they just haven't been very good in that span, right? Offensively, yeah, we know what they can do, but defensively, kind of look at their defensive rating for the season. They are number 26 in the entire league for the entirety of the season. It has improved a little bit over the last 5 games for them for their defensive rating, but it's still at number 20. They rank number 22, which is well below league average. So I think that's part of the area that they have to work on, where Portland on the other side has been defensive wide. They haven't been very good either, right? So I think that's what's kind of leading to the over on the points here tonight. I agree with you. The number has come in on the over for this game. It's up to 227.5, like I mentioned. So that is one of my favorite plays. You kind of look at the offensive stats for both of these teams. Like you mentioned, 3-point shooting, they are both top 10 or actually top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Denver shoots the ball, the 3-point shot. They rank number 2 as far as team percentage. Portland number 4. And then both teams allow well below league average. Portland number 18, allowing opponents to shoot 35.8%. And then also Denver is number 20, allowing 36.3%. And they're both giving up right around 12 to 13 makes per contest. So I think that, 3-point shots are going to be flying here tonight. The one part that does concern me about the over is that these teams don't really like to push the pace a lot. They are number 24 and number 28 as far as pace goes, but offensive wise, both are, like I said, efficient, and they like to shoot that 3-point ball, 3-point shot, which has been falling for both teams. So I agree about the over here as well at 227. As far as the side, I would probably go with the home team, Portland, maybe early on, first quarter or the second or first half for the Portland Trailblazers. I'm trying to pull up the numbers for their first half stats.
It should be. It should be. Okay. He's talking about that. Yeah, it should be pick or right around like a half for Portland for the first quarter, maybe a point.
Let me see.
But yeah, I'm with you on that. Early on, I like Portland early on.
First. All right, here we go. Quarters. So first quarter, they are -1.5 at +120. Maybe you'll be able to find a -1. Definitely shop around for that. And then for the first half, yeah, it's the same spread. It's -1 for
is
the.
Is it still plus money?
First half is even money.
Oh, I might play that.
-1.
Yeah, I might play that. Yeah, I'll have to look at their first quarter and first half numbers, but yeah, that seems. I mean, Denver they don't come out like with any intensity or any sense of urgency. They just come out, and I think maybe it's like a filling out process or something, but they don't come out as assertive as they are late in the game. I think they get down and they get more urgency in them, and then they start performing. But early on, they're not good at all. So I might look at that as well. That's good numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe Portland early on. I still do like them for the full game here as well.
Me too.
But I think for this game, I think we both do like the over in this game. I think it'll come down to the wire for both of these teams. Any player props that we are looking at for this game here, Delonte?
Quite a few actually. Before we get into that player props, if you had to guess at like where Portland ranks in like rim rate, which is percentage of shots at the rim, where do you think they would rank at?
My guess would be like bottom 10.
Yeah, see, they're top 5.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was kind of surprising to me that they take that many shots at the rim. Like that's
they're
a 3-point, like they seem like a 3-point barrage. Like they just shoot every time from 3, but they actually get to the rim at a pretty good rate, which is their 5th in rim rate. So that's pretty surprising to me.
Yeah.
Man, I like a lot of props in this game. I'll start off with the one I like the most, which is plus money Nurkic double at plus. I think I see plus 135, 140-ish.
Okay.
I was looking earlier. He's had 1 in 5 of the last 8. I also, if you don't, want to play that, you can look at his assists over 2.5. He's had 4+ in 5 of the last 6. That should be at plus money too. I think that was at plus like 105, 110-ish. I like that. Also, look at Simon's assist over. Now some of the Simon's numbers might be a little bit inflated, being that Dame is back and he was having the ball in his hands more. Yeah. So I would kind of try to stay away from I would try to keep it at like 4, 4.5. If it's 5 or over, I wouldn't play it. I didn't see his assist numbers.
Simon's is at 4.5 at plus 120.
Yeah, so I play 4. I play 4, 4.5. I think you can get that. And also Bones Highland. I didn't see any Bones Highland props. Did you?
Not yet. That I think because he's comes off the bench, you probably have to wait closer to game time.
Yeah, but he's had 15+ in 8 of the last 11. He really has taken a stranglehold on that that lead guard role in the second unit. When they stagger Joker's minutes and they get Bones and Joker together, they are like lethal. like together they don't have enough possessions to be able to qualify for like to be stats and points per possession.
Yeah.
But when they're on the floor together, they look really good. They got a real good chemistry. So I look for Bones to have a good night against Portland, which they got some guys that are missing on their second unit.
Mhm.
So I think Bones could take advantage of that and have a big night. Like I said, he's had 15 plus in 8 of the last 11. Um, Other than that, I think that would do it for what I like, which is pretty much a lot.
Yeah. I was looking at Dame's assist in this game here. He's kind of really taken on that facilitator role and like being a true point guard. I know we talk about Dame, it's about the guy can put the ball in the basket at will, but we take a look over his last 5 games. On the season, he's averaging 6.9 assists, but over his last 5 games, he's averaging 9.4 assists for the Portland Trailblazers, and he's gone in double digit assist in 3 out of the last 5 games for the Portland Trailblazers, and he's had 7 or more assists in, let's see here, 5 out of the last 6 games. He fell one short against Indiana in their last game. But I think there's an opportunity where definitely shop around for this number because I'm starting to see the VIG starting to move towards Damian Lillard on that over on that assist. I see minus 132s out there, and I see as high as minus 150. So Damian Lillard here tonight over 6.5 assists for me is what I like.
Mhm.
Also was looking at his 3-point prop here tonight as well. It's at 3.5 at plus 135, but I think he's had a lot of success shooting the 3 ball against his Denver Nuggets team. And, we talked about how they struggle on the defensive side of the basketball due to the Denver Nuggets, but Damian Lillard has knocked down 4 or more 3-point shots in 4 out of the last 5 career games against the Denver Nuggets. So, I like we mentioned, both teams shoot the 3 ball efficiently. I think that's going to start here with Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons here tonight. So, 2 guys that I'm looking at for 3-point props and then assist on Damian Lillard here tonight, Delonte.
Yeah, I like those a lot. Also something to monitor would be, I see that Drew said in the chat, Lillard has a double double in 3 of the last 4. Before it had a double double in 3 of the last 4, so that is right in your right with you with those assists, and might be worth a shot. I'm pretty sure his double double has to be a good plus price.
Oh
Has
yeah,
to
let
be.
me see if I can
It
find
has
it.
to be a good plus price. I see if we can. I
Uh,
was looking for it. I didn't see it.
Plus 420.
Yeah, that's worth a shot, man. I think that's worth a shot. It's gonna be, although their pace isn't like you said, it's not like breakneck speed, but when they get the ball in the half court, they are efficient. So
Mhm.
it could still be a lot of points in it. Just they score better on less possessions. So that's something to watch out for. Look out for Jamal Murray. Usually when he plays these top guards, he has like a pretty good night.
Mhm.
I know he's coming off the injury. He's been playing a lot better. But I think against Dame tonight, he'll take on that challenge. And I would look for him over 19.5 points. I think you can get reduced juice, like 105, 106 on that, if I'm not mistaken.
What you're looking for? I'm sorry.
Jamal Murray points over. I think it's 19.5. I think I seen minus 106, 107.
I see it up to minus 110 now on
Oh, okay,
some
cool.
books.
Yeah, I mean that's still fun. It's just
Yeah.
general. Yeah, so I like that as well. Jeremy Grant, look at his rebounds too. Over. I know I'm liking a lot of props in this game. Yeah, like a lot of them. But Jeremy Grant, it's too juiced at 4.5.
Mhm.
Um, like it's like minus 160 or something like that. But I mean, if you like, he just doesn't rebound well. Nurkic's gonna take all the rebounds.
Yeah.
But just something to look at if you want to throw it in like a same game parlay or something like that. That's a piece that I would like is Jeremy Grant under rebounds. Other than that, that's all I got
All right.
for the props.
All right. Let's close it out strong here with our lock and dog for the night here, Delonte. I'll let you lead off here, man. What do you got for your lock and dog?
For the lock, I was gonna have to pivot because I wanted to go Miami point. I mean, I want to go Miami and laying a 4, but obviously they're laying way more than that. So I'll go with the Houston San Antonio over.
Okay.
We talked about it in links. Both teams don't play a lot of defense. There are going to be a lot of possessions in this game. A lot of possessions lead to a lot of points. They're going to be a lot of turnovers, easy baskets, field goal percentage allowed, 3-point percentage allowed. Points allowed, both teams are bottom five. So I look for a lot of pace and a lot of points in this game. So for my lock, I'll go over. Let's see, 230.5. Is that what you got? 230.5.
Let me see on win bet. What do we got here? I know it was starting to climb as we were talking
Yeah,
about this
yeah,
here.
I think that too.
I see a 230.5 over
Yeah,
on win bet.
yeah. Okay, so I'll take that. I'll maybe hopefully for a 120, maybe like 128, 120 ish game, I
Yeah.
guess. So yeah, I'll take that. For the dog, I want to ride with you with the Clippers, but I'm not 100% sure if I want to do that. But for the dog, let's go with a player prop. Let's
Okay.
go with Nurkic double double plus 135. I like that. Like I said, he had one in 5 of the last 8. He's going to get a lot of opportunity. The only downside with anything when you're dealing with Nurkic is foul trouble, and
Yeah.
he usually gets up for him and Joker matchup. I don't think they necessarily like each other all that much, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I like Nurkic. Double, plus 135, plus 140. You can shop around. You might can find it higher than that, but consensus is about 135, 140 on it. So that would be what I'd go for my lock and dog. What about you?
All right. For my lock, I'm gonna go with the over here as well, but I'm gonna go in the Denver Nuggets and the Portland Trailblazers game.
Mhm.
I know these two teams don't play at a very high pace, which kind of hurts the over, but they're a very efficient team offensive wise. And defensively, they're both bottom 5, bottom 10 in the league. And I think that you'll see opportunities where 3-point shots are going to be flying here tonight for both of these teams. And like I mentioned, they do make it at at a very, very high clip, where at least percentage wise, where Denver ranks number 2 in the entire league on the season, and then Portland is number 4. And again, allowing 3-point percentage allowed, Denver ranks number 20. Portland is at number 18 as well. And as far as makes go, 12 and right around about 12 to 13 per game, which again is below league average. And again, you have guys that can put the ball in the basket, right? For Denver, you talked about Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon has been pretty good for them as well. Bones Highland, like you mentioned, off the bench. And then for the Portland side, a lot of lethal shooters, right? Damian Lillard, Anthony Simon, Jeremy Grant can fill the basket as well. Um, so they have Josh Hart can also knock down those corner 3-point shots as well and finish around the basket. And like you mentioned, what Portland was number 5 as far as rim. What was that rim?
Yeah, rim rate, just
Yeah,
percentage of shots
yeah,
taken at the rim. They take a
yeah.
lot of shots at the rim, which could
So
lead to free throws. So that's
yeah,
just
yeah. So I'll take the over. Currently seeing it at 227.5 between the Denver Nuggets and the Portland Trailblazers. For my dog, I'm going to go with a player prop as well, and that's going to be Jabari Smith over 2.5 3-point shots made here tonight. Currently seeing that at plus 110. He's done it in 7 out of the last 8 games for the Houston Rockets, and they're also going up against a team like we talked about that don't defend the 3 ball very well, or don't defend at all. If we want to say that, they are dead last as far as 3-point percentage allowed at close to 40%. Are the Spurs? They also allow about 13 makes per game, which ranks number 25. So both of these teams are not very good at defending the 3 ball. So Jabari Smith, where he's done it 7 out of the last 8 games, maybe without Kevin Porter Jr. tonight. So I think that's going to open up more shots for him as well. So I'll go Jabari Smith over 2.5 3-point shots made at plus 110 against San Antonio Spurs as my dog here tonight.
looks good, man. Yeah, I didn't take that purposely because I knew you were probably gonna be on that. That was one of my that was one of mine too. But I'll be on it with you though. I'll be
Yeah.
on both of those with you actually because I like the over in that Portland Denver game as well. It's just I just as far as the spread, I truly think it's like a perfect number. Like it could pick them pretty much each way. I think that's a perfect number, and I think it's gonna be a lot of positions. Maybe a game that could go to overtime if it's just I mean
Yeah.
it's hard to handicap overtime, but I think it's gonna be a pretty good
It's going to be a
game.
close game. I mean,
Yeah,
like
that's what I think.
the 2 games or 2 out of 3 games here tonight have a spread of 1.
Yeah,
I think that we'll see a closely knit game here tonight for at least the Rockets and Spurs, and then Portland and Denver here tonight. So
yeah,
definitely looking forward to it.
yeah, definitely.
Um, all right, that's going to do it for this edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast for these Thursday night games. Anything else you want to get off your chest, Delonte, before we get out of here?
Nah, man, we just got to get back on track. Last Thursday we had a great show. I think you hit your
Yeah.
same game parlay. I was a point, literally 1 point away from hitting the like 50-1 same game parlay.
Yeah.
I think we'll get back on the right track. At least we're transparent. Letting everybody know when we win, when we lose. So it's real dollars being put behind these bets. Other than that, we're just gonna keep grinding it out. Process over results. Keep it going.
Yeah, hopefully we can turn around here
Yep.
starting on Thursday here. So hopefully we can carry that momentum into the weekend.
Yep.
All right, make sure to follow us on the our Twitter account, SGPNNBA. Make sure to follow Delonte on Twitter at XXLonte, LONTEXX. Follow me on Twitter at SportsNerd824. Hey, continue sending in those screenshots of your Spotify
Oh,
rap
yeah.
season. If we are in your top three, we'll be giving out some merch. Still trying to get through the logistics of that, but we'll get some. We'll pick some winners, and then we'll get you out some merch or some merch credit to the store over on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. All right, Scott and Terrell will be back tomorrow for the Friday games in the NBA. Till then, good luck with your picks. Let's break these books off and let it ride.